these are the things which will play out. We are not against a legal treaty. After all, convention is a legal treaty, Kyoto Protocol is a legal treaty, and India is a party to it, as also to other treaties. The question comes that what comes first, the action or legal treaties? I wish if laws could solve the problems, life will be very easy for us.
Stan? Oh, thank you. My name is Lisa Friedman. I'm with Climate Wire. And you mentioned rumors, and I have one that I'd like to ask you about, and that is that we've heard that India and at least a couple other basic countries have met with the United States to talk about common objectives, as you described it, to discuss this objective of not launching a new process here in Durban towards a new treaty. Is it true?
Well, I mean, we in US, we meet, I think, in at least half a dozen fora every day. But of course, that's in multilateral setting. Bilaterally, why with US, with EU, with AOCs today? I was sitting with our friends from AOCs. So these bilateral, plurilateral discussions, they take place in maybe in a corner, maybe over a cup of tea or breakfast or whatever. So, this is part of the negotiations. Of course, they are the part of negotiations which are not, which are in the on the side tracks. And I don't see there's anything wrong. Ever since these multilateral processes have been there, we have been meeting. And as I said, today, the basic country, the four of us, 4 countries, we met AOCs. We were sitting on the dais like I'm sitting here. And we had a beginning of pretty good dialogue with them. And so with US,
Jon Herskovitz from Reuters. The EU and Japan have both mentioned starting negotiations for a new treaty which would encompass all of the major emitters in the world, which would include India. What do you think of the EU calls for a new agreement, which Japan says they share common grounds with, which would include a country like yours in a legally binding framework?
My first comment would be that this terminology, major emitters, we don't like. It's pejorative. India is not a major emitter. India just happens to be a large country with a small carbon footprint. Now, the terminology which people are using, and we are quite thrilled with it, is major economy. We think we have reached. But even then, India remains a poor country. So, now these calls by EU and Japan, which you are mentioning, and we have had bilaterals with both the countries, and we sat in various settings. Now, these are just, how should I put it? This is a process of negotiation. And what we thought of it, we have told them. And I have also told you that what we think of a legally binding treaty, a process being launched here in Durban. So we are in negotiations. The word which has come out, let me share with you. The word which has come out is reassurances, because nobody negotiates under preconditions. The word which has come out is reassurances. And a further development on this is mutual reassurances. So now we are talking to them, we are talking to all the partners. And when I say we, I don't mean a royal we, but all the delegations are talking to all other delegations that in what way can we mutually reassure each other and embark or conclude the Durban with such kind of decisions which will be acceptable to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Ajay Jha, and I belong to a coalition called Beyond Copenhagen. Recently, on 24th, we organized a consultation in New Delhi with the host High Commission, and that was basically to talk about priorities in Durban. We had representation from EU delegation, we had representation from High Commission of France, Philippines, Belgium, and a few more countries. And the mood was that during the leadership of the previous minister, India's role was very much appreciated as being very constructive to bring the countries together and solve the bottlenecks. But it was also shared that since the change in the ministry, India has gone back to its hardline position. So how do you perceive this and how do you react to this? Thank you.
Do you really think I'll answer this question? I'm a civil servant. You're talking of my political masters. So I would... are you going away or you're here? So Minister is joining us on Sunday, but let's not get into personalities.
5 hands here. This lady.
Hi, sir. My name is Anjali. I'm from College of the Atlantic and Earth in Brackets. I have a more specific question related to technology transfer. And India made a push earlier for the Global Environment Facility to support the activities of the CTCN. And that was quite a significant push supported by other countries. And I'm wondering if you could comment on why you're pushing for that and whether other possible forms of funding could be available for technology transfer. Why were you pushing so hard for the JEF?
Well, at my age, I'm not, afraid to display ignorance. This question is so specific that, I can't reply. I don't know these nuances, but I can tell you what our general take is. I personally, and in India, we believe in power of technology. We do believe that if human ingenuity is harnessed in a globally collaborative fashion, we can resolve many issues. We resolved the issue of food security, the green revolution in India we had. Similarly, we can resolve the issue of mitigating and adapting to climate change. Now, whether we'll go for GF and all, I don't know. My colleague, Dr. Ajay Mathur, is the expert. I would request you to talk to him. But then that was the reason why we gave this proposal about IPR, because we need to solve the problem of IPR. There are things like energy storage devices. There are things like use of nanotechnology for desalination. There are things like increasing efficiency of solar cells. And where those inventions will be made, I hope and I wish it will be done in Bangalore, but it could be Silicon Valley, it could be China, it could be anywhere. And what we want is that when such a earth-shaking or when such a paradigm-shifting discovery is made, it should be spread throughout the world as quickly as possible and as economically as possible. Now, how it can be done while rewarding the innovators is a challenge which we need to discuss and face. But for specific thing, I would request you to talk to Dr. Ajay Mathur.
Here.
Red Constantino from the Philippines. Finance has been a difficult issue. Yesterday, the U.S. was insisting that the GCF is but one channel of the 100 billion. What are your thoughts on this? Will India accept the TC document? Where do you think the money will come from? Thank you.
Those are 4 questions. Okay, let me try to attempt to reply. Finance, they say money makes the world go, so finance is critical. We do require Green Climate Fund to be operationalized as quickly as possible, because that was a part of, I don't very much like the word deal, but that was the part of the Cancun deal. Cancun, we agreed to many things because Green Climate Fund was supposed to be one of the outcomes. Now, how it will evolve is something which we are still negotiating. We don't want it to be an empty shell. We don't want it to be like some of the other financial organizations. I'll not take their name for. We want it to be an effective arm of fighting climate change, and which will also coordinate with the technology mechanism, which will also coordinate with scientific IPCC, so that we can have most economic and fastest response in a financial way. How it will be funded? Obviously, because of Article 4.3, it will be funded through contributions. I don't like the word donor and donee because this is not that kind of a discussion we are engaged in. it will be funded by the Annex 1 parties. We know that certain parties, Annex 1 parties, are in financial trouble, but that's part of business cycle. So when the business cycle picks up, maybe more money will come. When the business cycle is lesser, less money will come. But right now, we have to go in a step-by-step approach. And the first step is to set up the Global Climate Fund with some indication of its sourcing. The details of that, I mean, after all, there will be many more COPs to come that maybe we can discuss in the next COP. I'll take 3 questions more than I have to.
Thank you. I'm getting signals that we must close it down now. We have 2 questions here, the lady and then gentleman here next.
Kim Chipman from Bloomberg News. In your opening remarks, you referred several times to the United States. I was wondering, as a developed country, not part of KP, I'm wondering if you could give your assessment of the U.S.'s role in the talks so far and what you'd like to see from the U.S.
Well, as the other question was there, we have been having interactions with U.S. and U.S. role yesterday. Okay, I was in some room where Jonathan Pershing made certain remarks which we were quite bugged up with. He was talking about cooperation. He was talking about perspectives. He was talking about things which we were quite happy with. Now, only thing is, if you pardon me, I can't, one is for sake of time, and second is that, I can't comment on the US. I mean, each delegation we are all sovereign countries. So I would not like them to comment on what India should do. I would not like to comment on what US should do. We should all cooperate together.
Thanks very much. Alex Morales with Bloomberg News. We've had the LCA document out today, and I was wondering if you could tell us what are the best bits, what are the worst bits, and how are you going to get it down to something manageable for ministers?
If you wait till Monday, we'll tell in the open forum.
Thank you, reporter from China Daily. I have a question about this EU's new conditions. China has been talking about it will be open to talk about the EU's new conditions on extending Kyoto Protocol. So I was just wondering, what is India's position on this? Will India also be open on this? Thank you.
I think, when we sit here, we deal with people like my mother tongue is not English. Now, I am very sure that the talk was about reassurances, not under conditions, because countries don't negotiate under conditions. I think that's China's position as well. So we are talking of reassurances and mutual reassurances. Thank you.
I am Anil Dave, Member of Parliament from India. Musekarji, I have request that very many civil societies members are here from India. They have come from India just to participate in COP17. I think I'm meeting them for last 3-4 days, and here I advise you that if somehow you can arrange a meeting and talk to them separately and have a discussions and you can hear their view. I hope it will be good, because they are very eager to know what exactly is going on and whether a meeting can be organized with them or not. Because very many NGOs are there, or civil societies persons are there. So I request you to have a small party with them, tea party or any forum where they can meet with you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I have been meeting the civil society and press, and I can see some faces who will be witnesses for 2 days. But what we'll do is some member of my delegation will establish contact with whichever are these NGOs, and I'll be certainly happy to meet them.
The last question, this lady here. In front. Yeah, you're getting a microphone here.
I'm Rashmi Sehgal from the Deccan Chronicle Group. I have, Mr. Mosca, I want to ask you, there seem to be some differences, major differences that have crept up amongst the basic countries. How far is that perception correct? And also in terms of this whole legally binding agreement, the pressure on India especially for this. I mean, what is the basic position, what is India's position specifically on this line?
I think, madam, maybe I was not clear. In this ICC, with many rooms, there are many more rumors. So I think this basic countries differing and all that, I think it's one of those rumors. In this COP, for the first time, China, on behalf of Brazil, South Africa, India, and itself, gave a statement in COP. It also gave a statement in COP MOP. And these statements are available, I think the other colleagues must be having it. If you don't have it, maybe come to India office, we'll give you. So that is one. Now about pressure, I'm not feeling any pressure from anywhere. Of course, I'm tired. The pressure is that of getting up at 5 o'clock and sleeping at 1:32 and worrying about negotiations and what's going on. But at least I'm not under any pressure.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.